Let me tell you something most people don't say out loud, but everyone needs to understand deep down. If you want to rise above the ordinary, if you want to carve out a life that's truly yours, if you want to be more than just another face in the crowd, then you have to be strong enough to stand alone when life demands it. Not because you'll always be alone, but because there will be seasons when you'll have no other choice. And it's in those seasons that your real character is revealed. It's in those quiet testing hours that you decide who you are going to be when no one's watching, when no one's clapping, when no one's lending a hand. How you hold yourself together in those moments shapes the kind of strength that can't be stolen, shaken, or faked. It's easy to look confident when you're surrounded by applause. It's easy to speak big words when there's a crowd cheering you on. But the real measure of who you are is how you speak to yourself when the room goes silent. How you move forward when every plan falls apart. How you keep your heart soft when the world turns cold. Too many people run from solitude because they mistake it for something broken. They see an empty room and think it means they've failed. They hear silence and assume something's wrong. But the truth is, there's a quiet power in being alone. There's wisdom in the silence. There's a depth you can't reach when you're always surrounded by noise. There's something sacred about standing on your own 2 feet, becoming your own safety net, your own voice of reason, your own biggest supporter. Because here's the reality no one wants to face. There will be days when nobody calls, days when your phone stays silent, when the people you thought would stay drift away, when the ones who promised they'd show up are nowhere to be found. And that's when you find out what you're made of. That's when you learn to lean on discipline instead of praise. That's when you stop begging for permission to be enough. That's when you decide that your value isn't up for debate, not by friends, not by family, not by anyone. You have to build yourself into someone so steady that when people leave, you don't crumble with them. When they doubt you, you don't start doubting yourself. When the plan falls through, you don't lose sight of the bigger picture. Because people will come and go. Some will love you fiercely, some will betray you quietly, some will stay only long enough to drain your energy. That's just life. But you can't let their inconsistency shake your foundation. You have to be so rooted in who you are that no storm can uproot you. Strength doesn't mean you're numb to pain. It doesn't mean you pretend everything's fine when it isn't. It means you feel it all, the heartbreak, the disappointment, the loneliness. But you don't let it destroy you. You cry when you need to, but you don't surrender. You hurt, but you don't give up hope. You bend under the pressure, but you don't snap. That's real resilience, the kind that's built when you have nothing to lean on but your own resolve. And I know it's not easy. It can feel brutal to watch people with their tight circles, their built-in support, their cheering squads while your journey feels quiet, heavy, and endless. But don't confuse quiet with empty. Don't mistake stillness for lack of progress. Sometimes life removes you from the crowd because it needs to do something in you that can't happen with eyes on you. Sometimes the best parts of you are carved out in the shadows. The most profound lessons come when the world goes quiet and you're left alone with your thoughts. In that silence, you learn who you are beneath the performance. You see the patterns you keep repeating. You confront the fears you've been avoiding. You hear the truths you've drowned out with noise, and you discover the version of you who doesn't need constant reassurance to keep moving forward. That version of you is who you'll rely on when everything gets tested. That's the self that will stand with you when you're walking through betrayals, closed doors, and hard lessons. Real strength isn't built under bright lights and loud praise. It's shaped in the unseen hours when you choose to keep going, even when nobody's watching. It's proven not by how many people show up for you, but by how you show up for yourself when nobody else does. Many people fear being alone because they've never learned how to sit with themselves in silence. They chase relationships, friendships, distractions, anything to keep from hearing their own thoughts. But when you find the courage to sit quietly with your own soul, you gain something priceless. You realize you are complete all by yourself. So if your phone is quiet tonight, don't see it as emptiness. See it as an invitation. Use the silence to build something solid within you. Use the stillness to reconnect with the part of you that doesn't crumble under pressure. Because one day, that part of you, the quiet, steady, unshakable part, will be what carries you through storms that would break lesser spirits. Be alone when you must. Be strong because you choose to be. And watch how life changes when you stop fearing your own company and start trusting your own strength. Here's the thing you need to understand deep in your bones. When you finally learn to be at ease in your own company, you become a threat to anything that ever tried to keep you small. You're a threat to mediocrity, to the habits that used to hold you back, to the people who thought they could manipulate your longing for connection. Because now your peace isn't up for negotiation. Your worth isn't tied to who shows up or who stays. Your purpose doesn't shrink when the room is empty. You become your own sanctuary, your own steady ground, your own source of strength. Don't get confused, though. Knowing how to stand alone doesn't mean you'll never have good people around you. It just means when they do show up, they're a blessing, not a crutch. It means you're not desperate for company just to feel whole. You choose connections because they add to you, not because you're afraid to sit in silence. Your love is deep, but it doesn't beg. Your presence is kind, but it doesn't perform. You've learned how to pour into others without draining yourself dry. You know how to lift people up without setting yourself on fire to keep them warm. And yes, there will be days when it stings to walk your path alone, but let that ache refine you. Let it sharpen your understanding of what you truly want, what you'll never settle for again, what lines you'll never let anyone cross. Sometimes the biggest heartbreaks clear the way for the greatest growth. When you lose the people you thought you'd crumble without and find yourself still standing, that's power. When you fight silent battles nobody claps for, and you keep showing up anyway, that's real strength. When you keep creating, keep hoping, keep rising when nobody's watching, you're planting seeds that will outlast the noise. So if you find yourself walking solo these days, don't see it as punishment. This quiet season isn't here to break you, it's here to build you. It's not that life is denying you support, sometimes life is shaping you to hold more. Sometimes God removes the crowd so you remember how to carry your own weight. Before you're trusted with more, you're strengthened for it. This is where resilience is built, not in the spotlight, but in the hidden hours when it's just you and your willpower, when you pick purpose over distraction, when you choose focus instead of chasing validation. Make yourself solid enough to stand on your own 2 feet, not because you're destined to do life alone, but so that when the storms come, and they will, you won't crack under the weight. You won't beg for someone to rescue you. You won't shrink into who you used to be. You'll adapt. You'll keep moving. You'll rise. And when you come through the other side, you'll be stronger, wiser, clearer about who you are and what you will never tolerate again. That's the hidden blessing of walking alone. You come home to yourself. You remember that you've always been the foundation you were looking for. And let's take it further. Maybe you found your backbone. You've said no when you needed to. You've put up boundaries that protect your heart, your time, your energy. But what happens next? After the lines are drawn and you've reclaimed your space, what comes next is peace. And you don't need anybody's permission to guard it. In this world, people will act like your time and energy are theirs for the taking. They'll expect you to drop everything just because they call. But hear this and remember it well. Just because someone wants you doesn't mean they deserve you. Just because they ask for your help doesn't mean you owe it, especially if it costs you your balance. Your peace is not passive. It's not just burning incense and hoping for calm. Peace is earned through hard choices. It's protected by clear boundaries. It's kept alive by the courage to walk away from anything that tries to steal it, even if it means your silence has to shout louder than their noise. You weren't born to explain yourself to people who refuse to understand you. You're not here to be a forever fixer for those who won't fix themselves. Your clarity matters. Your mental well-being matters. Your spirit matters. So when something threatens that, you have every right to step back and guard what's sacred inside you. You don't need to debate it. You don't need to draft an apology. You don't owe anyone a presentation on why your peace comes first. Never forget this. The day you decided to be whole on your own was the day you became unstoppable. And that version of you, the one who knows how to stand alone, how to protect your peace, how to stay soft yet unshakable, that's the version that will carry you through anything life tries to throw at you next. Let's be honest about something few people like to admit. There will always be those who say your peace makes you selfish, who claim your boundaries make you cold, who see your silence as disrespectful. Let them think what they want. Their confusion about your healing is not yours to untangle. The only person who truly understands what you need, what drains you, what lifts you, is you. So trust that knowledge. Listen to that voice inside when it whispers, "This doesn't feel right." Honor it now before you're forced to carry regret later. Because the truth is, regret often comes from ignoring the peace your soul begged you to protect. You have dreams to chase, work to do, a life to build that makes you proud to wake up in the morning. None of that can grow in soil poisoned by constant sacrifice of your mental and emotional clarity just to keep certain people close. Ask yourself this: if keeping them in your life costs you your own sanity, what exactly are you keeping? Don't mistake loyalty for self-abandonment. Don't call it love if it keeps costing you your well-being. You can care for people from afar. You can wish them healing and happiness without giving them full access to your life. You never have to prove your love by destroying your own calm. Protecting your peace doesn't make you harsh. It makes you wise. It doesn't mean you've become cruel. It means you're aware of what belongs in your atmosphere and what doesn't. Your time and your space are sacred. Not everyone gets to sit there. Not everyone earns the right to speak into your life. Not everyone is meant to stay. So don't apologize when you close the door on conversations that drain your energy. Don't feel bad for saying no to invitations that don't align with where you're going. Don't think twice about quieting the noise that was never meant to guide your journey in the first place. And if they say you're distant, let them say it. If they label you guarded, so be it. If they claim you've changed, smile and nod, because change is the point. Evolution will always look like distance to people who chose to stand still. Sometimes the strongest thing you can do for yourself is to say nothing at all. Sometimes the most powerful move is to walk away without a dramatic explanation. Not because you're weak, but because you finally know better. True peace isn't earned by pleasing the world. It's guarded by pleasing God, protecting your purpose and refusing to trade your soul for someone else's comfort. Every single time you choose peace over chaos, you're choosing clarity instead of confusion. Every time you say no to drama, you're saying yes to your future. Every time you release what disturbs your spirit, you open your hands for what will help you grow. You've come too far to keep entertaining what tears you apart. You've survived too much to keep justifying why your boundaries exist. You've grown too strong to keep letting guilt drag you back to who you used to be. You don't need anyone's green light to protect your peace. You don't need applause to honor your own healing. You don't need outside validation to claim the next level of your life. What you do need is courage. Courage to trust your own judgment. Courage to stand alone if you must. Courage to shut the door and not look back. Make this the new standard for how you live from here on out. If something costs you your peace, it's too expensive. If it robs you of joy, it's not worth it. If it cracks your spirit, don't call it love. If it delays your growth, it's not meant for you. If it clouds your mind, it's not your true direction. You weren't created to be everyone's fallback plan. You weren't put here to be an on-call savior for people who won't save themselves. You were meant to shine, to grow, to breathe freely, to live without apologizing for protecting your mind, your time, your energy. So take a breath. Let go of what weighs you down. Remember, you never needed permission to protect what's sacred inside you. Now let's talk about real strength. Not the kind you show off in your muscles or your bank account, but the quiet kind, the invisible backbone that holds you up when there's no one left to lean on. That unshakable part of you that says, even if they all walk away, I will not break. That part of you that survives loneliness, betrayal, silence, and still decides to get back up. Make yourself strong enough to stand alone when life demands it. Because here's another truth. Not everyone you pour your love into will stay. Not everyone cheering for you wants to see you win. Not everyone you help will ever repay your kindness. If your strength depends on their presence, then their absence will shatter you. But when your strength is rooted deeper in your faith, your mission, your discipline, you stay steady even when people disappear. One day you'll walk through a season that feels painfully empty. The phone won't ring. The room will be quiet. The support you thought would never fade will feel like a ghost. But if you've built a foundation inside yourself, you'll discover you were never really alone. You were always enough to carry yourself forward. That's real peace. That's unshakable strength. And that's the life you deserve. And when that moment comes, and it always does, you'll stand at a crossroads with a choice only you can make. Will you fold under the weight of feeling forgotten? Or will you rise and let the silence shape you into something unshakable? You have to decide right then and there that you will not fall apart just because you stand alone. You have to be willing to become your own spark when there's no crowd to fuel your fire. You have to remind yourself daily of your worth when the world seems to overlook your name. You have to hold yourself steady when the love you gave doesn't circle back to your doorstep. Understand this deeply. Learning not to need anyone doesn't mean you're closing the door on love. It doesn't mean you don't crave connection or warm company. It means you've built such a solid foundation within yourself that when love arrives, it feels like a gift, not an anchor. People become an addition to your life, not the reason you hold it together. You no longer chase approval because you've already decided you are enough. Loneliness can't crush you when solitude has taught you how to stand tall. You discover that real peace has nothing to do with people and everything to do with living on purpose. Strength doesn't come from applause echoing around you, but from standing in full alignment with who you were born to be. Joy is no longer about the number of people in your corner, but about how whole you feel when no one is around to witness it. Don't sit around waiting for someone to rescue you with their belief. Don't waste years longing for the perfect partner to finally feel complete. Don't postpone your purpose until you have an audience. Stand up now and become the very person you've spent so long hoping someone else would help you become. Be your own best friend. Be the voice that lifts you up every morning. Be the reminder that you are worthy of your own effort and care. Be your own place of safety and certainty. Make yourself so steady that solitude doesn't frighten you but frees you. Because the moment you stop fearing your own company is the moment you step back into the driver's seat of your life. You stop settling for crumbs just to feel chosen. You stop begging people to stay. You stop shrinking to make others feel comfortable. You stop saying yes to what drains your spirit. You hold yourself to the vision planted in your heart and refuse to lower your standard just to keep company. And here's the beautiful thing. People feel that shift in you. They sense when you're no longer hungry for their approval. They sense when you don't need to be filled because you've already filled yourself. When you become whole within, the world can't help but meet you on that level. Because the moment you stop needing is the moment you become magnetic. You stop waiting for open doors and start building your own. You stop asking and start creating. Being alone is not a weakness to be hidden. It's an invitation to meet the parts of you you've ignored. It's an open door to think more clearly, to heal old wounds, to grow up in places where you stayed small for too long, to remember you were always the answer you were searching for in other people. Ask yourself, what might your life look like if you gave yourself everything you keep asking for from others? What would change if you spoke life over yourself every day instead of hoping for scraps of praise? What would happen if you loved yourself without hesitation instead of waiting for someone to show you how? What could you build if you believed in your own gift even when no one claps? You'd rewrite your whole life story. You'd stop over-explaining who you are just to be chosen. You'd stop auditioning for roles in other people's lives that don't fit your spirit. You'd stop stretching yourself thin just to feel seen. Instead, you'd show up rooted, certain, present, and whole. Because once you know who you are when it's just you in the mirror, no one can ever take that away. Not a partner, not a friend, not a boss, not even family. That quiet, steady, built-in strength becomes your greatest protection when the storms come, and the storms will come. But you won't panic because you've already learned how to stand up in the dark. You've already survived nights when the tears fell and the doubts whispered, yet you kept moving anyway. You've already proven to yourself that you are not breakable. You are built. So promise yourself right now, you will never chase those who choose to walk away. You will never shrink who you are to fit someone else's small idea of you. You will never lose sleep worrying about opinions that don't feed your spirit or your future. You won't let loneliness define you. You'll let it refine you. Build yourself so steady that being alone feels like training ground, not punishment. Like preparation for bigger things, not isolation from good things. One day people will see how strong you are and think it came out of nowhere. But you'll know it was born in the quiet moments when no one was clapping. It was forged when you sat alone with your thoughts and chose to believe anyway. It was built when you stayed faithful to your dreams while the room stayed empty. So keep going. Keep building yourself up from the inside out. Keep showing up for your own future. Make yourself strong enough to stand alone, and watch how you become unshakable in every part of your life. Once you learn to stand steady by yourself, you'll never fear losing anything again, because you'll know you were always enough. Let's set something straight once and for all. You are not here to be rescued. You are not a victim waiting on a hero to appear. Your life is not some endless waiting room where you sit hoping someone stronger, wiser, braver will come pull you out of the fire. You are the one being forged in that fire. Every setback, every heartbreak, every disappointment that made you question your worth, none of it was wasted. Those moments when you sat alone wondering why nobody showed up for you, they didn't come to break you down. They came to build you up from the inside out. Here's a truth most people run from. Nobody is coming to fix it for you. Nobody's coming to heal your wounds, hold you through every storm, or do the work your soul is calling you to do. And the day you stop hoping for that rescue is the day you step into your real strength. It's time to stop pleading for backup and start becoming your own backbone. It's time to quit waiting for love to knock on your door and start pouring love into yourself so fully you overflow. It's time to stop chasing strength outside of you and see it's always been there, buried under doubt and fear. You've been sold the idea that strength looks like being untouchable, emotionless, cold as stone. But real strength isn't numbness. It's the opposite. Real strength feels every ache, every betrayal, every lonely night, and still decides to stand up again the next day. Real strength doesn't hide its tears. It wipes them and keeps moving. It's not about being perfect. It's about refusing to stay broken. It's not ego that makes you unbreakable. It's unshakable self-respect. You don't need to be flawless to be powerful. You don't need to be invincible to be valuable. You just need to refuse to hand over your power to anyone else. Of course, we all crave love. We all crave connection. But don't twist that truth into a trap. You don't lose who you are when someone leaves. You don't lose your worth because someone failed to see it. You don't stop being valuable just because life feels painfully quiet for a while. You were never meant to be rescued. You were meant to stand up and rise, stronger than before. Strong enough to trust that your purpose is bigger than this moment. Strong enough to believe that solitude isn't a punishment, it's preparation. Strong enough to stop begging for a seat at tables you've outgrown. You have to train your mind to stop tying your peace to people who are inconsistent. If your happiness depends on whether someone texts you back, you're handing them too much power. If your confidence goes up and down with someone else's approval, you're giving them the steering wheel to your life. If your self-worth collapses when you're alone, it's time to rebuild from the foundation up. Don't fool yourself. It's not going to feel easy at first. That first night alone might sting like a fresh wound. That first morning when your phone stays silent will feel heavy. That first weekend where you have no plans, no calls, no company, that's when the real work begins. That's where the fire is lit. That's where the old version of you, the one who needed constant company to feel enough, finally fades away. And something new, something solid, something unstoppable rises in its place. So don't waste the silence. Don't curse the empty room. Don't resent the nights when no one shows up. Use it. Let it train you. Let it stretch you. Let it force you to find out what's really inside you when no one's watching. Turn your loneliness into strategy. Turn your rejection into fuel. Turn every closed door into a doorway inward to the part of you that never needed anyone's permission to be great. One day you'll look back on these moments when you felt unseen and unloved, and you'll realize they were the moments you finally saw yourself for who you really are. That version of you that needed constant reassurance, constant company, constant permission. It dies in the quiet. And what rises instead is someone powerful enough to clap for themselves when nobody's cheering. Someone who checks in with their own dreams when nobody asks how they're doing. Someone who believes so fiercely in their vision that no outsider's doubt can shake their resolve. You're not here to depend on someone else to be your strength. You are here to become the strength for your future, for your purpose, for your family, for the legacy you're building even when nobody notices. When the world falls silent, clap for your own progress. When no one believes in you, believe harder. When no one reaches out, reach inside. Make yourself so grounded, so locked into who you are and what you're here to do, that nothing outside of you can undo what you've built within. It doesn't matter if you're just starting out or starting over, whether you're young and green or older and wiser. You have every tool you need right now to rebuild your life from the inside out. But you have to stop hoping for someone to come fix it for you. This is your mountain to climb. This is your fire to walk through. This is your fight to win. You are not broken. You are becoming. You are not alone. You are aligned. You are not forgotten. You are being forged. You were never meant to be saved. You were meant to stand. So rise. Not because anyone told you to, but because something inside you refuses to stay small. And when you do rise, rise like someone who has nothing left to lose and everything left to give. Rise like someone who knows the silence was never punishment. It was preparation. Rise like someone who understands that pain was not wasted. It was the price of power. Rise like someone who knows being alone is not the ending. It's the birthplace of everything you're about to become. Because you're not just surviving anymore, you're becoming. You're not just healing, you're building. You're not waiting for life to hand you something. You're creating it with your own hands. And once you taste that kind of strength, you'll never fear standing alone again. You're stepping into your purpose with a strength nobody gave you and nobody can take away. A strength you pieced together in the quiet moments when no one showed up, when no one offered a hand, when no one stayed, but you did. And that's exactly what makes you unstoppable. Hear this clearly. Your loneliness is not a punishment. It's part of the preparation. That silence you've been sitting in, that distance you feel from the noise of the world, that feeling of being set apart, it's not a sign that something is wrong with you. It's a sign that something powerful is being built inside you. People love to think leadership is about being liked, seen, praised. But real leadership, it's born in rooms where no one's clapping. It's shaped in nights when you're wide awake, sorting through your doubts alone. It's tested in seasons when you're left with nothing but your own conviction to stand on. The reason you've been feeling cut off isn't because you're forgotten. It's because you're being positioned for growth you could never reach while surrounded by constant noise. True leaders don't lead because a crowd tells them they can. They lead because they've learned to keep walking when nobody understands, when nobody supports, when nobody sees what they see. Their power doesn't come from popularity. It comes from clarity. And clarity rarely shows up in crowded rooms. Clarity often demands isolation. So stop telling yourself you lost something when people drifted away. You didn't lose. You gained a new level of perspective. You didn't get left behind. You were called ahead. You didn't fall off. You fell into alignment with what you were actually meant to carry. Every person you admire for their strength and vision went through a season just like this. Moses walked the desert alone. David hid out in caves when betrayal chased him. Ruth stood alone in foreign fields. Even Jesus spent time in the wilderness by himself before stepping fully into his purpose. So who told you your isolation means you're broken? You're not broken. You're being built. You're not abandoned. You're being anointed. This is the season when the unnecessary falls away so what's essential can stand firm. Because if you can't guide yourself in the dark, you won't know how to guide others when the spotlight hits. If you can't discipline yourself when no one's watching, you won't know how to lead when everyone is. Don't waste this silence crying over who left. Don't waste these quiet nights begging for company that doesn't even value what you carry. Use this space. Master it. Let it shape you. Become the leader your future demands, not the version still hoping for applause, but the version who applauds your own discipline when nobody notices. Not the version who needs permission to aim high, but the one who makes excellence your standard, no exceptions. This season feels lonely because preparation always feels like isolation. That's the part nobody puts in the highlight reel. You have to learn how to sit in the silence without needing to escape it. You have to get comfortable in your own company. You have to become the kind of person who shows up for your goals, whether or not anyone else shows up for you. Leadership starts when you stop betraying your vision just to keep temporary comfort. It begins when you choose habits that match your calling, not your convenience. If you're sitting alone right now, wondering why life feels stripped down, hear this. This is not punishment. This is your promotion in progress. This is life tearing away the fake layers so what's real can breathe. This is God clearing out the crowd so you can finally hear your own voice without interruption. This is time pulling you away from distractions so you can learn to walk with conviction, not just compliance. And know this, once you get comfortable walking alone, your entire standard of living shifts. Your circle shrinks, but your life expands. Your focus sharpens. Your energy cleans itself up. You lose interest in distractions and gain time for what actually matters. Now you're no longer leading to please others. You're leading because purpose is bigger than opinions. Now you're not desperate for anyone's approval. You stand steady in your own vision. Now you're not afraid of quiet spaces. You thrive in them. So stop fighting your solitude like it's a curse. It's the space where your deepest transformation is taking root. It's the room where old wounds close and real strength grows. It's where your real identity stands up, free from the noise that used to confuse you. You were never made to stay small, easy, comfortable, and endlessly surrounded by people who don't add to your calling. You were designed to be powerful, disciplined, and set apart. You can't lead if you're still waiting for someone to take every step with you. Sometimes leadership is stepping first, moving forward when nobody's ready, standing steady on a path nobody sees yet. Your footsteps lay the foundation for those who come after you, but you have to take them alone first. So embrace this season, honor this silence, trust this process. You are not left behind. You're being lifted higher than the noise could ever reach. And when the time comes, and the world finally sees what you've been building in the quiet, you won't have to prove yourself to anyone. You'll simply stand ready, because you respected your isolation, you honored the silence, and you made yourself strong enough to rise with or without an audience. This is real leadership. This is unshakable strength. This is you stepping fully into everything you were born to become. Let's bring this full circle. If there's one thing you carry with you from this moment on, let it be this. You were never created to beg for what you are meant to stand tall in. You were never designed to crawl for scraps of acceptance. You were made to rise with your head high, not shrink just to make yourself easier to swallow. The world will keep trying to convince you that you're only enough when you're validated, only worthy when you're loved a certain way, only valuable when you're surrounded by people clapping for you. But hear me clearly. Your worth was set the day you were created. It was sealed by something bigger than any opinion, rumor, or rejection. Nothing people say, assume, or gossip about you has the power to undo what you already are. You don't owe explanations to those who refuse to understand you. You don't have to chase appreciation from people determined to overlook you. You don't have to drain yourself proving your value to people who can't see beyond their own insecurities. What is truly for you will see you clearly. It won't demand that you bend your spirit in half. It won't cost you your dignity, your peace, or your identity. Too many people spend their days begging to be loved halfway, begging for friendships that barely show up, begging for scraps of attention just to feel seen for a moment. But begging was never your language. Kings don't beg. Queens don't grovel. You were made to grow, not grovel. And growing means you'll have to outgrow people who can't grow with you. It means shedding places, patterns, and even old versions of yourself that can't handle the next level. When you finally become strong enough to stand on your own, you stop settling for watered-down love and fake loyalty. You stop clinging to one-sided bonds just to avoid feeling alone. You stop folding yourself into boxes that were never shaped for you in the